The year was 1971. We piled into the station wagon, anticipation buzzing alongside our excitement. We were the Perrin family, on our way to a fresh start in a rambling old farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Little did we know we were driving headlong into a nightmare. The house loomed large as we pulled up the drive, its age evident in the weathered wood and the way it seemed to settle into the landscape. From the moment we crossed the threshold, something felt off. The air hung heavy, thick with an unseen weight. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the creaking of the floorboards beneath our feet. My sisters and I, young and full of life, were oblivious to the darkness that had already begun to seep into our new home. We explored our new domain with childish glee, unaware that we were being watched, our every move scrutinized by unseen eyes. The farmhouse, with its sprawling rooms and hidden nooks, should have been a child's paradise. Instead, it whispered secrets of a troubled past, secrets that would soon unravel the very fabric of our family. The first night descended, cloaking the house in an eerie darkness. Sleep, when it finally came, was riddled with unsettling dreams, a harbinger of the horrors to come. The unsettling events began subtly, almost imperceptibly. Doors creaked open seemingly on their own. Footsteps echoed in the dead of night, their rhythm heavy and deliberate. Whispers, barely audible, seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves, weaving tales of sorrow and despair. My sisters and I, our childish innocence slowly eroding, began to experience things we couldn't explain. Cindy, the youngest, claimed to see a boy in the window, his face pale and his eyes filled with a sadness that belied his age. Nancy, always the sensitive one, felt a cold hand brush against her cheek in the night, leaving behind a trail of icy fear. One afternoon, as I played in the attic, I stumbled upon an old, dusty mirror tucked away in a corner. As I gazed into its depths, I saw a figure standing behind me, a woman with a twisted face contorted in a silent scream. I whirled around, but there was no one there. The image, seared into my memory, haunted my dreams. The whispers grew louder, the shadows more menacing. Our once happy home had become a prison of fear, its walls closing in on our sanity. As the haunting intensified, a name began to surface from the darkness. Bathsheba? She was a malevolent entity, a spirit consumed by a rage that transcended death. The whispers spoke of her cruelty, of her reign of terror over the farmhouse and its former inhabitants. Bathsheba's presence was palpable, a suffocating weight that settled upon our chests. She seemed to delight in tormenting us, her laughter cold and hollow, echoing through the empty rooms. Objects moved with a life of their own, hurled across the room with terrifying force. Beds shook violently in the night, as if unseen hands sought to drag us down into the darkness below. One particularly harrowing night, Bathsheba made her presence known in a way we could never forget. We were huddled together in the living room, seeking solace in numbers, when the lights began to flicker. The air grew thick and heavy, and a stench of decay filled our nostrils. And then we saw her. Bathsheba materialized in the center of the room, her form shimmering and indistinct, her eyes burning with an unholy light fixed on each of us in turn, as if branding us with her mark. Her voice, raspy and filled with hate, echoed through the room, promising pain and suffering. My sisters screamed, their voices high-pitched and filled with terror. I wanted to scream too, to run and hide, but I was frozen in place, paralyzed by fear. Bathsheba's gaze settled on me, and a cold dread washed over me, chilling me to the bone. The days that followed were a blur of terror. The hauntings became more frequent, more violent. We were living in a constant state of fear, never knowing when or where Bathsheba would strike next. Our once peaceful home had become a battleground, a place where the veil between the living and the dead had been torn asunder. As the haunting reached its peak, my mother Carolyn became the focus of Bathsheba's wrath. The once vibrant woman we knew began to change, her demeanor growing distant and her eyes taking on a haunted look. She would speak in a voice that wasn't her own, a voice filled with malice and despair. Bathsheba's hold on Carolyn grew stronger with each passing day. We watched in horror as our mother, the woman who had always been our protector, became a prisoner in her own body. She would lash out at us, her words cruel and cutting, her touch cold and lifeless. One night, as we huddled together in our room, listening to the sounds of our mother's tormented cries echoing from downstairs, We knew we had to do something. We had to find help. We had to find someone who could save our mother and save us from the nightmare that had become our lives.